Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this new video on Boris Spassky and Bobby Fischer World Championship 1972. This is the game number 13 in this video. Be sure to watch it. Even I can call it that even a starfish couldn't understand some moves of Bobby Fischer's, and actually those moves were just actually stronger than even as new as a starfish. So we just see the game. Be sure to watch it. Please don't forget to like and comment on this video, and please also make sure that you have subbed to the channel. Okay, let's go through the game. And the game starts with e4 knight f6. What is this opening? What is the name of this opening? Is Alekhine Defense. Yeah. Usual white goes e5, hitting the knight. We have knight to d5, d4, d6. So knight to f3 just protects this pawn once more. We have g6. So Black's idea is just to go bishop to g7 and just to castle here. Okay, so we have bishop to c4 from Bobby Fischer. C4 is also playable in this line after, for example, c4 knight to b6. This is the line that I usually just play. It takes on d6, c takes on d6, then we go the move h3. So what is the point of h3 is that in the Alekhine defense, you just usually play the move h3 to just prevent and avoid any bishop to g4 pin. So that's the reason why h3 is just played. And we also make a square for king if we just castle, so we don't have any bad range mating threats. So after the move h3, bishop to g7, we have knight to c3, and now we just want to develop. Usually bishop to g5 comes, then queen to d2, then we just want to somehow exchange these bishops to actually, and for example in some lines we have h4, h5 ideas, okay? But for example, after castle, we just go bishop to e2. After bishop to f5, just castle, knight to c6, d5, hitting the knight. After knight to a5, we go what? So if you have got problem and just trouble with this position because black is just hitting the pawn twice and it's just defended once. You can't play b3 because your knight is hanging. For example, after here you just hang your knight on c3, it's just hanging. Okay. So you don't have to move b3 to defend the pawn. You have to play actively in this position and fearlessly by playing knight to d4. After, if none, knight takes on c4, then we have this move a4. The threat is a5. After here, we just take the knight. If, for example, rook to c8 is played, then anyway a5 is coming. After knight to d7, we now go g4, and you can see that this bishop here is in trouble. For example, the best move here is to go e5 for black, and after knight d to b5, a6, knight to a7, hitting the rook. After here, we just go bishop takes on c4. So rook to a8 is not just playable. Okay, if rook to c5, then we just take the bishop over on f5 and just up a piece. You may criticize that this pawn is just is trapped, but it's not really. And for example, after knight to f6, we just go b4. After, for example, rook to c7, b5. b5 has come, and now we just threaten to go b6 and just to defend this pawn. And if you just take, I just take it back with the knight, and my or knight is actually survived again. And okay, but let's go to the main line. So that's the reason why the move. Don't forget to play the move h3 in this line. h3 is so critical to play. You must always remember the move h3. Okay, so but let's go back to the main line. Fischer went, sorry, Boris Spassky played the move bishop to c4. We have knight to b6 from Bobby Fischer. We go versus Spassky played bishop to b3. We have bishop to g7, knight to b to d2. A better move could be just queen to e2. Now again, we just usually in this, Alekhine defend the best moves for white that what actually has to play is a4, a5 coming. For example, after now a4, and if, for example, if not in this position a4 because it takes e5 is possible, okay, but you can yet try a5 here. After knight 6 to d7, we just have this tactic here. Bishop takes on f7, king takes on f7, knight to g5, king to g8, and we have this knight to e6. So hitting the queen. After the queen moves, we just take the pawn and we eventually take the rook over on a8. For example, after queen to e8, we go knight takes on c7, queen to d8, we just take the rook over there. And this position is double-edged, and both have equal advantage, but white is slightly better at this point. So, but let's go back to the actual main lines. So f4 is playable here, giving up pawn as I just showed you, but maybe queen to e2 is better, and now a4 is just coming. For example, if you just take on e5, you just take it back, and we just have the simple development threads after just, sorry, castles. Now rook comes to here, controls the file, not just develops on C3. He controls the center, and actually white is somehow better if just black allows that white does his plan. Okay, so but let's go back to the main line. After knight b2 by the Boris Spassky, we see just castle. We have the move now h3. h3 is kind of good, but as I just told you, don't forget the power of the move a4. Okay, a4 is in this case is strong. Again, you're just to go a5 and somehow to just get this knight very passive on, for example, d7, and it's kind of actually arguing the activity of this knight on b8. So after, for example, a5, a4, a5, okay, so we go queen to e2, h3 is also playable, but queen to e2 is better. After, for example, bishop to g4, now we just play the move e6. And now that is the point. If black has just castles, we have just e6 move. If, for example, f6 or just f5, we just go now h3. If it goes back, then we just go g4 and just trap the bishop here, okay? If it goes there, again, we just play g4 and just trap the bishop again in this one. So, but let's go back. h3 was played instead, as I just told you. We have a5, guys, a4, and here we just, Bobby Fischer just took on e5, we just took, and after knight to a6, so the threat of knight to a6 is that wants to just go and jump on knight to c5, okay, bishop to f5 is just simple threat here, and for example here to just bring the rook to the queen and just have a similar activity as whites want to do, and black gets advantage if you just allow him to do like this tasks, okay? But sorry, After, as I said, a4, a5 takes take, knight to a6, just castles, and now knight to c5 just gets played. We have queen to e2, queen to e8 was just played. A better move could be maybe bishop to f5. Okay, guys, sorry for the interruption. We just continue. But queen to e8 was just played here. We have knight to e4 from Boris Spassky. Now, knight takes on a4. We just take, as Boris Spassky just took on a4, knight takes on a4. We have rook to e1. Now, the actually knight comes back on to b6 from Bobby Fischer. It's good move, very nice. After bishop to d2, so rook to a5 is just threat, and Bobby just plays a4, just pushes it and just defends. Okay, so far it's nice, but it is actually slightly better for Bobby's at this point. We have bishop to g5, a better move for Boris's past could be just bishop to b4. The point of bishop to b4 is that I want to, at some case, I want to go c4, okay, preventing any jump, not jump to d5 and hitting the bishop over here, and also rook to a d1 is just played here to just control the file and gain activity. Let's go. For example, after bishop to e6, we have again rook a to d1, rook to d8, rook takes d8, queen takes d8, rook d1, and after queen to e8, knight to c3, we have knight to c4, knight to c4. As you just noticed that it is just threatening to take the pawn. We go rook to e4. So what is the point of rook to if d4 is that if you not just take it or just play bishop here. For example, if you just take this, then I just go bishop to a3 here, and if you just go back, I just sacrifice my rook for just take two of your pieces. I mean knight and bishop, and this is good for white. Okay, but let's go back to the main. After, for example, after bishop to g5, that actually Boris is fast just played it. We have h6 down. After bishop to h4, we have bishop to f5. A better move just could be g4. Just push this bishop back. Why not? But bishop to f5, we have g4 now. Bishop to e6, knight to d4, hitting the bishop on e6. We have bishop to c4, hitting the queen. A better move just could be bishop takes on e5 and completely ignoring the threat of knight takes on e6. After knight takes on e6, f takes on e6, we see that bishop takes on b2 even is not threat, and queen and rook are just very well guarding the king on g8, and look at the white's activity pieces, just as this bishop over here, which is completely passive. Knight cannot jump anywhere because it's just controlled by the pawns. And at this point, white has no compensation, believe it or not. But Bobby Fischer just took this threat serious and played bishop to c4. Not a bad move, good move. We have queen to d2. The point of queen to d2 is that. So, what is the point of queen to d2 here? What is the threat? What is white's threat in this position, guys? For example, if it goes, for example, inactive right here, then what does white has to play? I hope you just find it. So pause the video if you just didn't think. Yes, we have knight to f6. If you just take, I just take it back. Now I'm just attacking your queen, and again another threat is just simple taking the bishop on g7, which is a good protected of the king. So that's why knight to f6 is very good. But okay, we have bishop to c4, queen to e2, as I just said, knight to d7 now, queen to d7 now. We have rook a to d1, bishop to d5 was actually a better move, but Bobby played the moves rook to f to e8. We have f4 now. A better move actually for Bobby could be just the move b3 after c5 hitting the knight. We just take it after queen to c7. So the point of queen to c7 is one to take here and one just to take here, for example, here and here. Okay, but white plays queen to b4 defends both of these threats. We have rook to c8 after knight to e4. We have bishop to d5, and now the move e6 is just played. Bishop takes on e6, knight takes on e6, f takes on e6, then the move bishop to g3. You can't take the pawn because your knight on b6 is hanging, so queen to c6, and we have just c4. Bishop to f8, just protecting against the threat of this. So after bishop to f8, we have bishop to e5. After rook to d8, we just take and we go c5. And we just hitting the knight. If knight goes on d5, then we just take the pawn on a4, and white is fine in this position. But let's go back to the main move. F4 was just played in this position, and we have bishop to d5. Good move. Actually, the best move was a3, as I just pointed out, but the bishop to d5 is not a bad move at all. We have knight to c5, hitting the queen over. And after queen to c8, we have queen to c3, e6. A better move would be just again the move a3, but e6 was just played. We have king to h2. The point of king to h2 is just maybe I can just go rook to g1 and start rook to g1, rook to f1, and just start pushing the pawns. Okay. We have knight to d7, knight to d3, and now c5 from Fischer, which was a very nice move. After knight to b5, he just sees this idea of queen to c6. So the threats, one of the threats is just to go here, and one is just simply just take the knight. For example, after knight to d6, here actually Bobby Fischer used the queen. So after takes, which actually Boris Spassky did this, we have bishop takes on c3, b takes on c3, and here we have the move f6, guys. Now g5 was just played, takes, and f5 trying to somehow push these pawns. So one of the threats is actually in this position is bishop to g3 for white, okay, to just stop this pawn. So that's what actually versus Spassky just played to just prevent the move e5, okay? But we have king to f7. A better move, guys, could be actually a3 again, trying to just push this pawn. Why not? You must just make these roots bother with this pawn, okay? After knight to e5, we have knight takes on e5, bishop takes on e5, and rook to e8 is just good for blackboard Bobby Fischer and just made the game much simpler. But the move a3 was not great. We have king to f7, not a bad move and not a blunder. We have knight to e5 check, knight takes on e5 only move. We have bishop takes on e5, and b5 just was played, and this move is just a blunder. Uh, rook to f1. Sorry. Just did it very bad. Rook to f1 was just played, but actually Boris Spassky could use this fact. Not just play c4. What is the core? What is the main idea of c4 is that if you take this, then you have just doubled your pawn. I'm so happy, so happy. If you just take it, then we have the move d7 and now bishop to f3, trying to just win some material back and somehow try to keep this and hold this position. Okay, for example, if c4, the best move is actually bishop takes on c4, as I just pointed out. We have just the move d7 after, for example, rook here, bishop goes on f6, and now we just at some point we just want to take. For example, if the move before, not we don't take it immediately. Remember it, guys. We have rook to d6. Also, this pawn is also a threat for us. Now, rook is also coming to the back rank and just hitting those pawns while we have this under attack. For example, after rook to d6, if a3 now, okay, we go king to g3. After a2, you go h4. If you just promote, then you just are defending this. And if you just push, we just take, and nothing is happening for black. Nothing very serious, progressive for black. Okay? But the move c4 was not just played. We have, sorry, rook f1, rook h8, a blunder from Bobby Fischer. Bishop to f6 was just played, but Boris Spassky just could take on h8, and after rook takes h8, we have rook f e1. The point now is rook takes on, for example, if you just go here, then rook takes d5 is happening. After you just take, we go rook to e7. After king to f8, we go rook to a7, and now we are just threatening this. And just to promote, for example, if you just play something like this, which is a blunder, guys, after here, we just go rook to a8. If you just play this, then rook takes h8 and now d7, and now it's that white is winning the game. After, for example, a2, you just promote with check, and you just have time to go back and just take the pawn on a2. So that's the point, which actually was not played. Bishop takes h8 was not played. Instead, bishop to f6. We have now a3. After rook to f4, which was a blunder, a better move could be just rook to a1. After a2, we go rook to fd1. We just threatening to at some point taking again this. After just take, we just takes, and we just grab this pawn on a2. Okay, if this move is just played, then we just have this simple now pushing just this pawn. Okay, but let's go to the main line. Rook to f4 was just played here. We have now a2, c4 was now played. Interesting idea from Boris Spassky. Maybe it was mandatory. You had to find that, but it's kind of too late. You have d7. Look, I just explained earlier to you guys. We have bishop to d5, king to g3. Very nice move from Boris Spassky. The threat is actually not coming until just coming rook to h4, and after this kind of threats, then I can hold it. Okay. So rook to a3 was just played. We have the move c3, branching the check over here. We have rook h to a8. We have rook to h4. e5, rook h7, check king to e6, rook to e7, check king to d6, rook takes on e5, then after rook to c3, rook king to f2, rook c2, check king to e1, king takes on d7, we have just takes the rook with the rook on e5, after king to c6, rook to e6, d6 check, king to b7, check again, king to a6, now the king is trying to run away and just hide behind of his pieces on with the pawn and rook defending and guarding. So we have rook 7 to d2. We have just takes with the king b4, h4. We have king to b5, h5, and it's kind of a race between this pawn and these pawns here. Bishop is nicely guarding, perfectly guarding the square on a1. We have rook to a1, g takes on h5, g6, h4. Now this comes also passer. After the move g7, we have h3, bishop to d7, and rook to g8. We have just bishop to c8, bishop to f8. Not a bad move. Actually, kind of risky. We have the move h2, king to f2, king to c6. Now after rook to d1, so we just brought and prevented any king to here and just sacrifices. Okay, we go actually Bobby triple the move b3, king to f3, king to c3, h1 queen. We have rook takes on h1, king to d5, king to b2. After the move f4, rook to d1, king to e4, rook c1, king d3, rook d1 check, which was a blunder. A better move just could be rook to c3 check, after king to d4, rook to f3, now trying to hit the pawn on f4, for example, after the move king to e4, okay, we have this move again, rook to c3, trying to hit this pawn. If again this, then again we just hit this pawn. If you just go here, we just take on c4. And if, for example, after here, if you just, at least I just take, and this one is just draw. But rook to d1 check was just played, and that was just actually blunder from Boris Spassky. Now king to e2, we have rook to c1, just pushes, and bishop comes back to c5, defending this square. We have just takes the pawn now on g7. After rook takes c4, we have just rook to d7, rook e4 check, king to f1, bishop to d4, f2, and now at this point of the game, Boris Spassky gave this up. But why? The threat is actually not simple rook takes on d4. What are you going to do? For example, if you just try here, okay, I now have rook to d2 check, okay. After, for example, king takes b3, none, this pawn is queen. If you just play this way, then rook to d1, after here we just queen again. And white has just multiple threats. If you go away with your bishop, then I just go with check. And now even my threat is just to take on d4, which is your bishop. The best move that computer suggests is rook to f4, but I will just rotate d4. Yeah, just rotate some d4. After here, we just go king to e2. After rook to e4 check, we have this. And if you just play this, I'm just happy with this kind of threat. If you just take this, now this pawn is queen, and black has queen, so you can win it very easily. And that's why just Boris Spassky gave this game up. Gave this up. Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, guys. Please don't forget to like and comment on this video. Please also make sure that you have subbed to the channel. See you next time for more videos on Bobby Fischer and Boris Spassky series. Goodbye for now. See you later.